Absolutely not. Sorry.
No.
I don't know what it is. It just makes my spine shiver. I don't know. And if any time it comes up on TikTok, I'm like...
Please tell me that's on recording. I'll get a TikTok of that.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good day, and welcome back to the Parc'd podcast by Parc'd. Today it is episode 19. The Tina Houseman of episodes, which Slay Queen, because F1 Academy.
The only number 19 in the list.
Yeah, the only number 19 in Four Wheels. No one else.
No.
No one else. Today we are talking all things Coda. It's getting a little bit yeehaw in this hizzle today. I hate myself for saying that.
Oh, this is going to be such a good TikTok.
Yeah, on TikTok all I keep on seeing is like the end of video when you cringe. It's like, end. Bye guys. Thanks for coming to the podcast.
So we haven't been on the Parc'd podcast in about a month now because there hasn't been any 4 months, 4 weeks. Jesus Christ, not 4 months.
I was gonna say, whoa.
Weeks. I was gonna say a month and 4 weeks, and it just turned to 4 months, and that was a lie. Because obviously F1 took its long break. WEC was already on a long break. Formula E's gone. F2 runs on the same schedule as F1 but longer. Formula 3 done. There has been the motos, but for the extent that most of us watch MotoGP and when we can catch it, we've not got enough information for us.
And they've all been at it's been the Asian races. They're all at insanely early in the morning.
Yeah, I've been waking up and finding out the results through that, and I'm like,
it was a lovely wake up on Sunday though for the motos. A lovely wake up on Sunday.
Yeah, but yeah, we're going to COCO. Woo!
Yeehaw, baby!
Yeehaw! I feel like COCO got a lot of mixed opinions.
End of the free.
Depending on who you spoke to, depending on if you liked the race, if you didn't like the race, I find I am somewhere in the middle.
Loved it.
I think it was okay. It was an okay race. I think the main thing that stops it from being a good race was the stewards' decisions. I think it was controversial to say the least. Obviously the main one was George's penalty and then Lando's penalty. And I agree with... It's really difficult because basically I don't think Lando was ahead at the apex like McLaren were claiming, but I think Max did push him off. So then where does that come into the regs? And
yeah, because George's was just ridiculous for first measure. There had only been 2 drivers pre-hand to George's incident during the race that did the exact same thing and did not get penalised for it. George does it and gets a penalty for it. And watching the video back, he shouldn't have been penalised for it anyway because he didn't force Valtteri off track. Valtteri quite literally drove himself off track. Which did spark up a big conversation online because it became very, very clear that if you aren't 100% sure if you're going to stay on track when someone is overtaking you, if you were to just drive off the track, they will get penalised for it. Which makes the rulebook very, 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 very difficult. In terms, obviously Yuki Tsunoda then got the exact same penalty that George did when he did the exact same thing. So it's kind of a 50-50 split and who gets penalised for that, and then obviously the Max and Lando situation. Which... You
know what's funny? When reading the documents, George Russell was actually set up for a 10-second penalty for that incident. The only reason he didn't get a 10-second penalty is because, let me quote this, the stewards determined that forcing off the track was not deliberate and the driver of car 63 was in control of the car at all times. That's the only reason he got a 5-second penalty, which I don't get why that suddenly is a 10-second penalty, and since when are we basing penalties off if it's deliberate or not? Because how can you tell if it's deliberate or not? I mean, everyone would say no, it's not deliberate. But since when are we judging penalties on that?
I think also, like, as you said, you're never going to know whether it's deliberate. You literally cannot.
No.
Looking at like the Lando situation, because obviously I feel like that was the biggest talking point of the weekend.
Absolutely.
I feel like in that Lando Max situation, the only person that was in the wrong was McLaren.
100%.
That's because
if they had just given that place back, he would have never lost that position. And I said that while I was watching. I was like, they need to give the place back and stop being stupid, otherwise he's going to get a penalty.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, in the rule book, it states
you left the track and gave him an advantage.
Yeah. And the driver having the advantage into coming out of the corner, everything like that, whoever has the advantage for the overtake there is whoever is first at the apex. And all McLaren needed to do was go back, look at the footage, see that Max was ahead at the apex. They were convinced he wasn't because their screenshot was not at the apex.
The apex.
Yeah.
They took a photo when Lando was last ahead, which wasn't at the apex. Max was ahead when it hit the apex, therefore it was Max's right of way. Should Max have left him more room? Absolutely. That is completely down to them, the gentleman's agreement. And that's just an agreement held between the drivers. It's not policed. It's not nothing. So if Max technically wanted to push him off track, the thing is though, is if Lando didn't overtake, he could have been fine. He would have been completely fine. If he had given the position back immediately, he would have been fine. McLaren told him not to give the position back because he was ahead of the apex. And if you're not 100%, if you're not 100%, don't tell him. Yeah. But he was so close to getting his fourth, and then he would have got another 5-second penalty anyway.
Exactly. So it's kind of a stupid kind of thing all around. And I said, like, also the issue was Max and Lando's fight completely overshadowed a great weekend for Ferrari, which is such a shame, because they deserve to have that praise.
I think Ferrari did phenomenally this weekend. Charles Leclerc knew exactly where he needed to be at the right time.
The strategy was great.
That first turn, he kept an eye on what was happening ahead of him. He kept to himself, kept clean, watched the situation happen in front of him, and just slipped on down the inside and just continued off before he had a second chance to think. Ferrari had a flawless strategy from start to finish after that point. They pitted at the correct time. They had both their drivers set up in the correct place at the correct time. There was moments where it was like, oh, is Carlos going to catch Charles? Because that would then make things really, really difficult. They might not then get a 1-2 because they're too busy battling each other. What's going to happen? And they kept Carlos and Charles both at a decent pace between themselves. Where if, say, Max or Lando, who were both P3, P4, alternating at this point, if either one of them were able to catch up, there's still a buffer. But Carlos clearly showed he had enough pace and enough race in him to keep second place. He could have easily gone for the win, I think, but I do think Charles just had the pace and the strategy to win it.
Such a good gap. He got such a good gap, but he just kind of had a race of his own. And I think that's exactly what Ferrari needed at this stage in the season. Obviously, I know they're probably preparing and focusing more on next year rather than now. But I think, as you said, they were in right place, right time. They took advantage of the situation that McLaren, Red Bull, and Mercedes were having, and thought,
I have no clue what was going on in Mercedes this weekend.
What a mess. Absolutely what a mess. I think it was really disappointing, obviously. Obviously they had kind of a poor quality anyway.
They just had
But-
a poor weekend overall.
Yeah. All
I don't
around,
know.
terrible weekend.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the car. Seeing both of the drivers crashing out the way they did,
Exact
It-
same
that
place,
is-
exact same way.
it's for me that's absolutely down to the car and whatever is happening there, because the way they both lost it is just out of nowhere. And it's not like you have inexperienced driver in that car, so you can't blame it on that. I don't know what was happening with the car in Coda, and especially at that corner, but it's crazy to see them both go out like that.
Yeah, because
One in the race, one in qualifying.
Yeah, you had George in
And for
qualifying
anybody
and
else.
then Lewis on lap 3. of the
Yeah,
race.
very early on.
And you
If
can
nobody else-
see. Sorry, you can just see between the two Mercedes there that like they both came in with upgrades. George crashed out in qualifying, had to refix his entire car, start from the pit lane. Didn't have any of the new upgrades. They went into the race. Lewis had the new upgrades. George didn't. And then Lewis's car did the exact same thing. There is something in those new upgrades that just was not clicking, because then George went on to have a phenomenal race. So
Maybe that's why Lewis wanted to get rid of his upgrades. Did you hear him say that?
yeah,
Crashed.
Lewis
like,
Hamilton
"You can
offered
have
his
my
upgrade to
upgrades."
George. Yeah.
George is like, we're not doing that.
After quali. Maybe they knew it was fucked all along.
And then obviously the other main thing of the race was Liam's points.
Well,
Liam Lawson
well,
being-
there is another important thing in this, but we'll talk Liam's points first. There is still one more thing, which
Yeah, I think
should have
Liam
mentioned,
had
but I didn't.
I'm going through this.
Liam had a good weekend. Very steady, I would
I think he
say.
did. I think it was kind of in the first half. It didn't seem promising necessarily. I mean, his quality was okay for an RB.
I don't
And then
think personally he showed everything he could have shown in qualifying. Well, obviously, which
100%.
makes sense because you've got a 60 place grid penalty. What's the point in fighting
Yeah.
for Q1 when you're still going to start dead last?
yeah,
You can,
And,
finish, you can finish on pole, you're still starting dead last.
yeah. And then obviously the Fernando fight in the sprint, which is spicy. So spicy. Grandpa was having a go at the kids again.
Yeah.
And very interesting. I think again, probably Fernando this weekend, he was like, geez, these kids are like actually fast. Because Liam is fast. You know, we've watched him for years. And it's nice to actually see him get a chance. Whether this is going to be for the following season is a whole nother thing. But yeah, Katie?
He was going out in Q1, and he was like, he finished Q1 third,
Yeah.
and then
Crazy.
they went into Q2, and they were like, oh, is he going to come out? Is he even going to like complete qualifying point and now? And then he did come out. Yeah, he only finished, I think it was, in the end, like, finished in 15th. He didn't really sort of make an attempt.
Mhm.
The quality that he was making an attempt in, he finished the session, like, you finished Q1 and P3, so there's something there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it goes to show that, yes, Red Bull backed outfits have a tendency to drop drivers mid-season, but perhaps this one is actually for the better.
Sometimes it works.
Well,
Sometimes it works.
my controversial opinion of the 2024 season is that I believe all mid-season driver changes have proven to be worth it.
Correct. Yeah.
100%. And I guess with that we go on to Franco.
Yeah, because that's nothing against Daniel Ricciardo. It's nothing
I
against
mean, hell
Logan.
yeah.
Daniel Ricciardo has obviously proven time and time again that he is a good driver.
Mm.
Logan Sargent definitely should have been able to finish his year just as like a humane kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you look at it from a
But
team's
also-
perspective, the stuff that Liam's done in one race for not AlphaTauri, are they anymore? VCAR.
Whoa.
Sorry, I am Alpine. Alpine?
You-
Was it Alpine?
Oh,
that
God.
said-
You're
No.
not Alonso.
It was Aston
It's okay, I'm
Martin.
still
It was
Toro
Aston
Rosso
Martin.
quality.
It was Alpine and Williams that were beefing. Got it.
Yeah, Colin.
All these teams
called them
beginning
the
with
AlphaTauri.
A just is throwing me. Yeah, but not Liam. We just spoke about Liam. Franco. Another
Holy
phenomenal
Holy
weekend for that man. I'm actually in shock that he doesn't have a seat for next year.
You need him
Crazy.
to somehow create a team for himself and create his own damn seat, because
Pretty sure this is the first time since Logan Sargent joined Formula One that Alex Albon's teammate has scored a point and he hasn't.
Yeah.
Could be, yeah.
Because I can't remember if last season Logan scored a point on a time where Alex didn't.
I can't
I think,
remember it.
that that second Williams seat. I know we always talk about the second Red Bull seat, the second RB seat, but even that second Williams seat, obviously Alex gained George's seat, and that second Williams seat's been having, obviously, it's got Franco in the minute. It had Logan. It had
Nicholas Latifi.
It had, Robert Kubica, and those kind of, it's not being consistent. It's not being consistently great. So I think to finally have that, and I think Williams having these two consistent drivers is exactly what it needs. It needs that bit of consistency because we know the position the team's in. It's not great. And I don't want to say they're maybe starting to regret that they don't have Franco for next year, because
I think they are.
Carlos is a great driver.
He is a great driver, but if you see what Franco Colapinto is one of the drivers that has that spark, that has that just a little bit extra what he can do with a car.
He's such a breath of fresh air.
It's
even in the media, he's just so great.
I've been telling
it's one
you
of those
guys about
drivers
this
that
for years.
My favourite was about the fastest lap, and the French getting the new tyres. It's not very eco, is it?
It's not very good for the environment. We need to think about the planet.
Apparently, this isn't the first time he's used that as an excuse for something.
That just shows he's of our generation. He just likes to kind of mess around and stuff. Yeah. And I think because I know how long he's been with the Williams Academy, but he's not like Ollie Behrman, who's been with the Ferrari Academy for a really long time. He's had all this media training. In Williams, it's quite breath of fresh air. He's actually able to be himself. It's good. It's good fun.
I definitely think he is someone that needs to be in F1 one way or another. So I hope in the future somehow. I mean, we've seen a lot of drivers that were very dominant and great in F2 but came to F1 and it just didn't work, and then they went off to other series and they shined again. F1 isn't for everyone, as much as I would love to see everyone in F1 doing great, but some of the F2 boys that did insane in F2 just don't do well in F1. But then with Franco Colapinto, I think he's an example that can shine in F1 and maybe be something really great. So I hope for the future.
I think that's the thing, he can adapt. And absolutely. I think that's what makes him such a brilliant driver. He's able to adapt to so many different things.
Yeah, because the Williams car is not an easy car to just get in and be competitive and be quick.
Especially with how different the F1 and the F2 car are to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
it's interesting. It's interesting to see him. I like it.
Yeah. So our two rookies of the year both did a phenomenal job. What happened to the trophy?
So, did you see Pato Award taking a trophy around Kota?
Yeah, the monkey.
The sort of, exactly. So obviously, just before the weekend, there was already...
You said monkey, it was Mickey Mouse, wasn't it?
It was something.
It was Deadmau the DJ.
Yeah.
But it's like Mickey Mouse.
So even before the weekend, we already had a lot of controversy about that trophy. Some people loved it, others absolutely hated it. And then we came to the fucking podium ceremony and Pirelli was handing out tires to the drivers.
Did you see Carlos drop his and it just bounced?
And it bounced.
But you saw even the F1 drivers, they were like, what was this? Where's my trophy?
They heard Franco Colapinto complained about saving the planet, so they just recycled the trophies and gave them.
Yeah, apparently it's some sort of copyright thing. Apparently they copyright the trophy some other brand said it looked like their brand, and it was like something going on, and they were like, okay, let's just not get into this.
Well, apparently it was like really, really last minute.
Yeah.
Like they were just like, let's just give them these ones.
Yeah,
like,
let's just not get ourselves into this situation where we could potentially have trouble from this trophy. But yeah, funny to see.
Yeah.
What's your last point on this mean?
Track invasion. COTA got like $500,000 fine
Yeah.
because people
Fans got on
went
track.
onto the track when the cars were still on track.
And they
You
didn't,
know-
they didn't open the gates or anything.
No.
They climbed over the fence.
Yeah. So basically, some tracks, not all of them have them, but quite a lot of tracks these days have that. When all the cars are in like Parc'd and the podium area, people can go onto the track, stand at the podium, walk around, steal all the fucking boards and signs, because that's a thing now. But obviously, those fans are not allowed on the track before all the cars are off the track and the track is like cleared. But that didn't happen in COTA, and fans somehow got on the track, which is obviously very dangerous, because even an F1 car that drives slow, if you get run over by it, the downforce that it sucks you. Okay, I don't even want to imagine that, but it's obviously very dangerous. So yeah, COTA got like $500,000 fine for letting fans on the track before the cars were off track and the track was cleared.
I feel like letting fans on fact is a bit of a stretch there for the fine, but
no, the issue is that they weren't
police
like, they didn't have people watching those areas that
Yeah.
and like to have, but also like in reality, what stupid fan
Yeah.
are climbing over fences to get onto the track?
Honestly.
Yeah, because I've been on, how many tracks have we been on? 2? 3? 2? We've been on Monza.
Yeah, you've been on Monza, Le Mans.
Monza, Silverstone.
I've been on
Mans.
Silverstone.
Oh, you mean on track? On
On-
track. Oh,
on
right, yeah. Monza, Le Mans. Spa? Did we go on the track in Spa? No, we didn't.
No. Brands we went on the track at. But that wasn't after the race, that was before the race.
Not once once.
But yeah, when we were at Monza, went on the track, they open the gates once things are ready. People are super respectful. They wait patiently for those gates to open. They go through the gates. Le Mans, everyone else was climbing through a hole in the fence, so we also climbed through the hole in the fence.
That was a bit more chaotic.
Up the gate before it, so they'd opened up the gate before it.
Oh,
Yeah.
We were not walking down to that gate. we'll just go through the Marshall hole. In the fence.
And then also in Silverstone, they have gates which they open for the fans.
Yeah, and they've now got it down to just one specific gate. I think they open now at Silverstone.
Yeah.
For the F1, that is. They have just one specific gate. When I was there for Silverstone, I don't think we were even allowed on the track. This was 2021. But even if we did, I was not going on the track because we had a almost 2-hour red flag in the hottest day of the year, stood directly in the sunlight. And by that point, I was sunburned, tired, and I just wanted my bed. So I was like,
Fair
sorry,
enough.
bye.
And I did it for MotoGP as well, but that was... I don't know when we were actually allowed on the track for that, but I did it, and I can't remember why.
But it's so fun. I definitely recommend for people who are like going to their first race or whatever to go on the track if you can. If by that, when I say if you can, I mean if
Break any
you
laws.
can. If they open up the track to allow you onto the track, go for it. So even if you go to Monza, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna open up the gates to let you on track. Don't be pulling silly shenanigans and jumping fences. That's not only dangerous to you, and you could get severely hurt. You put all of these marshals and stuff like that who they're on their free ass job that they do not get paid for. You're putting them at risk because they do not get paid to stop you. Like
No.
So if you're just stood next to them jumping over the fence, they can get in trouble, but they're not getting paid to stop you from doing it. So it's just silly. Don't do it. Don't climb fences. Wait for the gates to open.
Be respectful for the event you're going to.
Yeah. And that goes for everything.
Yeah.
To be fully honest.
Do we have anything else to cover from Coda?
Really? I think Goda was pretty calm this time around.
Yeah, just
as in
Max and Lando fighting.
Yeah, and I feel like normally with Kota we get this crazy things like people in big cars and weird ass American.
Well,
I feel like it was
Daniel
pretty
usually encourages it.
calm.
You know when they do the thing where the drivers go around? They're
Yeah,
those big trucks, right? I don't know if you saw, but every single driver, there was obviously one per team. Right,
Yeah.
they're just waving and smiling and waving and smiling. And then you get to the Williams truck. And
Right.
there's just Franco sat on the floor, cross-legged.
Yeah.
Alex is sat down, is squatting down. And they're just in a full-blown conversation.
I actually love them so much.
I was like, oh my god.
So funny.
Icons.
God.
Icons, legends.
I mean, when I was watching the coverage, I got very excited because I've been on the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders TikTok for months. So when I heard Thunderstruck playing, I was like, I swear to God, if they're not there, turned and looked, and they were dancing, and I was like,
Love it.
Like,
amazing. I got very excited because I like pole vaulting, and Armand Duplantis,
Yeah.
Position Award to Lando Norris.
The George Russell.
Like, wow.
My favourite thing was someone saying, "Oh, you haven't seen him and George Russell in the same room."
No, because when he puts
like,
glasses on, he looks like George Russell.
so funny.
Then
oh god.
And it definitely was going to be George Russell up there on that pole position point, so he were in pole position for Max Verstappen, so I'm pretty sure he went and hid immediately after his incident. I just realised I'm wearing an Arizona jumper today, so I'm like,
My basketball team.
yeehaw!
The US period.
This is the jumper. Celeste, I don't know if you recognise this jumper.
I do recognize it.
Yeah, it's because you spilled coffee.
As in, I know
out
you-
there.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say I knew you had it. I'm pretty sure you took it to me.
Do you guys know what we forgot to talk about, Kota?
What?
I don't know if you know what weekend it was. Starts with an S. Ends in a print.
No, we don't talk about the sprint race. Fuck that.
No.
The only... there is one specific
it.
thing we should probably mention about the sprint weekend, that this was Max Verstappen's first time winning in 4 months.
Yeah, not that interesting. It's a sprint race though. It doesn't count. Unless you're George Russell, sorry.
Thank you, I think.
Oh.
It was still a very, whatchamacallit, an interesting statistics. Obviously, Max Verstappen has won all year.
Yeah, so MotoGP were in Phillip Island this weekend in Australia. Such a good track, such a good race always. I did not wake up early to watch that because no way.
It's only a 4 a.m. start.
Jesus.
Start.
I still too early.
Okay.
Way too early.
Okay.
But yeah, so really, I think interesting race all around. I'll start with Moto3. Obviously, David Alonso won the race again. Just honestly, Moto3 got at this point. He did a little Valentino nod on the podium, had all the tape around his head, which is sweet. And then Danny Holgado and Adrian Fernandez on the podium with him in Moto2. Him and Aldeguer obviously won the race. He obviously will be in MotoGP next year, so just getting more of that experience. Aaron Canet came P2 and a home podium for Senna Agius? I never know how to pronounce that. Agius.
I know that, if it's the same as someone I know that's got the last name Agius, then I'm assuming it's the same.
We'll go with Agius.
But that,
and then
I do have to mention, that podium finish shook up the Moto2 championship completely.
Really?
Because who's P4 and P5?
In what?
Championship.
I am looking. P4, well, so the current MotoGP Moto2 standings are Iagora, Aaron Canet, Firmin Aldeguer, Sergio Garcia, and Alonso Lopez. So Firmin and Sergio are all on the same point, and then Aaron is 1 point above.
Yeah, so Aaron and Firmin jumped up above those two. So Sergio and Alonso Lopez were P2 and P3 in the standings before this weekend.
Yeah, because Alonso DNF'd.
And then Sergio finished P9.
Yes. Well done.
Thank you. Can you tell me
and then obviously the MotoGP race.
This week.
The MotoGP race was drama. So obviously Marc Marquez had the comeback ride of his life. At the start, he ran over. It's like a oh my god, I can't remember what it's called.
Tearaway.
Tear off. That was obviously in front of his grid box for some reason, which is kind of dodgy. But he had a terrible start and had such a great comeback to win the race. You just once Mark wins a race, you just cannot stop him from there. And good luck to everyone for the rest of the year, because he is going to be go for it.
I still stand by the fact that the best thing that he did was leave Honda.
I know. Have you seen?
Didn't Alex Marquez come out and say that Marc Marquez winning is all down to him, down to Alex or something? Did I read that correctly?
It's probably just a sibling thing.
Yeah, something to do with because Alex swapped teams and Mark swapped teams.
Yeah, well, originally Alex's first year was in Repsol Honda, and then he got dropped even before the season started, and went to LCR Honda, and then they treated him terribly, and he went to Ducati, and I guess it just went from there. And Alex probably went to Mark and went, this bike's pretty good. But even Repsol Honda are no longer going to be sponsored by Repsol. They are going to be hopefully sponsored by Castrol next year, which I think is insane considering how long they have been sponsored by Repsol. And that's just really interesting. Jorge Martin came P2 and Pecco Bagnaia came P3. Unfortunately, we're not going to be seeing Fabio Di Giannantonio for the rest of the season.
Why?
Because he's having surgery. Yeah.
Rude.
He's having surgery, and it's going to be. We're not sure who's replacing him at the moment.
Oh.
At the moment, the rumors are Andrea Ioni, which would be the stupidest thing ever. Considering the reason he stopped racing in MotoGP is because he got drug tested and banned.
Oh.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be a good look.
Well done.
But yeah, so all around a pretty interesting weekend. It was also kind of Jack Miller versus Siegel in the sprint race. If you've seen the photo, RIP that bike and the Seagull, because it was not looking good.
No.
And then the standings in MotoGP are Jorge Franco. I was going to full name Pecco Bagnaia then, but I'm just not so far. Pecco Bagnaia and Marc Marquez in P3, so he's still there. He's about 80 points off the lead at the moment. And then the points in Moto3 obviously has been won by David Alonso, but Danny Holgado is still in P2 and Colin Vieje in P9. P9? P3.
P9.
My brain's broken.
Don't think there's a Parc'd podcast for 2 weeks, so we can discuss the next 2 weeks of racing, because all of a sudden all the racing is like one after the other, because we're in the middle of Formula 1 Triple Ada. So obviously COTA was the first bit. This weekend we're Mexico
Mexico.
and MotoGP, Moto2 and Moto3 are in Thailand. And then the weekend after that, we're in Brazil for the final race of this triple header of Formula Ones, because Formula One have this triple header and then like a 2-week break and then a final triple header, and that's the end of the season.
Just seen my notes that says Brazil F1, which is not correct.
Yeah, no, I did read that and I was like, I don't think that's correct. So
No.
I ignored it because I was like, I know this weekend's Mexico City.
I meant next weekend as in
The second,
this goes
third
on
of
Friday
November.
and then not the coming weekend but the next weekend.
The
I think
following weekend, yeah, it was
because I put
Brazil.
WEC in there as well.
The weekend you're watching this on, it's Mexico City. Next
Yeah.
weekend, it's Brazil. And then we've got a 2-week break. But with Brazil comes the WEC season finale in Bahrain for the 8 hours of Bahrain. That same weekend, MotoGP, Moto2 and Moto3 go to Malaysia before they have a week
Ooh,
off.
Sepang.
Then they have a week off, and then they have their season finale. So everything's like starting to come to an end. However, in regards to WEC, because there has been some very, very interesting news that just came out. So Porsche, for their 2025 campaign, have dropped having a 3-driver lineup. They will They will only be running 2 drivers per car.
Are they allowed to?
Yeah.
What, are they dropping? What? Wait, what?
Yeah. So
Is it Michael Christiansen back in the car?
let me double check. I know that the number 6 will be run by Kevin Esther and Lawrence Van Thor, and like that's number 6. When it comes to the 24 Hours of Le Mans, they will need a 3rd driver because that's
obviously.
just the regulations. But you know how Iota won in Spa with just 2 drivers. Yeah.
Do you have to do that though? Like, it's not that like.
Yeah, I just it's very, very weird for them to like.
Yeah,
just
it's
go
very
back.
weird.
But there is a team, I can't remember which team it was, that was only running 2 drivers all season anyway.
Jota.
No, they weren't.
No, they weren't.
Callum though. Didn't they do a race and they won it by themselves?
Yes, because Norman Nato was on
Yeah, but
holiday.
they didn't have like a 2-driver lineup for
Formula
the whole
E.
season.
Yeah, it was
Right,
just
no,
the one
that's
race.
That's valid.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Michael Christiansen and Julian Unlauer are in the number 5, and then Lawrence and Kevin are in the number 6. And then
That's crazy.
that's their lineup for WEC next year. They're not doing.
Has there been any word on like why they've decided to do that, or no
God
clue?
knows. I would assume it comes down to them just looking at performance and stuff like that. Yeah, money probably is a big play in it.
Yeah.
If you only realistically need 2 drivers, and you know the 2 drivers you already have could easily win races on their own, like what's the point in trying to add a 3rd to the mix? Like Lauren, using the number 6 as an example, Lawrence and Kevin get on very, very, very well. They not only compete in WEC together, but they compete in other series together.
Together for so long.
Yeah. So they reflect off of each other really, really well, I think, and their partnership is incredible to watch. And nothing against Andre Lotterer here. It's just when you are watching WEC and you look at that number 6 car, the stints that the likes of like Lawrence and Kevin are putting in compared to Andre is wild. Obviously, Andre doesn't drive as much. If there's a 6-hour race, Lawrence 9 times out of 10 does almost 3 hours. Kevin does like 2 hours, and Andre literally drives the minimum amount of time he needs to and then doesn't do any more.
Yeah.
I wonder what he'll be doing next year then. Whether he'll go back to Japan or because I know obviously he raced in Japan for such a long time.
Yeah.
And he is well respected out there. He's like a huge fan favorite. So
Yeah, I don't know if I'm pretty sure someone in the comments mentioned something about who would be joining them. Yeah, for like the likes of like Qatar, Bahrain, and Le Mans. Someone said they'll be joined by Yamanet for number 5 and Campbell for number 6.
Germany.
That's interesting, so because those are like 2 big races in the season, and then you have a driver that hasn't like driven as much with the
To be
team.
fair, like
Very
Shani,
interesting to see.
he's raced in WEC for a long time. I think.
Yeah, obviously, but I think it's different if you like do a full season with a team or just do like
Yeah.
2 races. I think it's like interesting to
races.
see how that dynamic will be
Yeah.
in those races. I think it's interesting. I've never seen. I don't think I've seen a 2-driver lineup since I've started watching WEC. So
It's
I'm
gonna be
baffled.
very, very interesting
Yeah,
to see how that
it could
goes.
work. It could be. Yeah, it could
It's
be
also
really
going to
good.
be interesting to see if any other WEC teams like follow suit, because
I was going to say we'll
what
follow
if,
up. Yeah.
Like, what if Ferrari then decide to pull out 2 driver lineups? Like,
Mm.
who are you saying goodbye to in your teams? Because your number 51 has a very, very strong lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. We need all 3 of those drivers. I think. I don't think we.
100%.
I know exactly
do
who
it
I'd
too.
remove out of number 50.
I know, but still, he is one of the fastest drivers in that car and in that team. So, as much as you want him to be removed, I don't think it would be a benefit. Just I would remove the entirety of car 93. That yellow shit show just needs to be out.
She's just upset that that car has won a WEC race this year and the 51 hasn't.
And that car fucking crashed out most of my main cars over and over again. Yeah.
Also, guys, just place your bets. How long do you think I'll be able to watch on Celeste's WEC TV account before she realises I'm watching WEC on her WEC TV account? It took her about an hour and a half last time to realise that I was watching on her account.
Oh, I didn't know.
I was just texting her about the race, and she was just texting.
I'm just so used so used to the fact that you can watch anything and everything. And I'm normally the one that needs to rock up a VPN or like get a stream somewhere. So I'm just used to you having the racing, and I forgot that you don't have WEC on your TV.
But yeah, that's the next 2 weeks. And then pre-season testing for Formula E starts on the Monday. So Sunday we have Brazil and Bahrain, and then Monday Formula E's pre-season testing begins.
All women, baby.
No, only for that's Thursday, the 7th.
Oh, I meant the 7th. I don't know what day it was on Monday.
Yeah, no. They've got an all-women's test. I'm excited to see who's going to be there. Will Kiro, because Formula E's ELT is now Kiro, will they announce their drivers before the pre-season test?
I hope so. They need drivers to test their cars, I reckon. Do
you think they're just going to rock up with the drivers to the test and take that as the announcement?
Yeah, I would.
Could be.
Honestly, that is also...
Is that on track? I don't know. Who's that?
I don't know, he's wearing a helmet.
It's not as if you can just go, oh, it's number 33, so it's so-and-so, because Kiro have designated cars with the car numbers, like the driver doesn't pick it, Kiro picks them.
You know what would be really fucking cool? If they just rock up, race suits, helmets on, right? Go do their testing. No one knows.
Helmets as well, so you can't
get out of the car, do all the interviews, helmet and suit, everything on. No names, no numbers, nothing. No voice.
No, you get one of the little voice things that you put like here, and it changes your voice as it comes through.
And then we won't know until like the first race in Mexico.
Who says
that would kind of be cool.
Yeah, maybe imagine them doing the whole like a stick, you know, the stick from like
stick style,
just we don't know for the entire season.
That was so iconic if they did that.
Honestly, I think that's the greatest idea we've ever come up with.
We get to the end of the season, it'd just be fucking Fernando Alonso.
I did see. I don't know whether it was like a book, but I saw someone like coming up with the idea of a book to have like one of the drivers is just anonymous.
Yeah.
And he's like winning, but it's anonymous. He never takes off like the helmet, nothing.
I think it would be
that would be so interesting.
It would.
It would be.
I would read that book.
Well, the masked singer, but it's just the masked driver.
The masked driver, yes!
And where
that.
It's so cool.
The fish going around in the Ferrari.
Yes.
Alba. Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna pitch this to the FIA who's trying with me to Paris.
You should just say, considering you want all new ideas, considering you're trying to get the attention of the new generation.
Yeah, this is the way.
Thank you guys for joining us on this episode of the Parc'd podcast by Puck Them. We've absolutely loved speaking with each other and speaking to you guys about COTA and yeehaw. Yeehaw! Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Leave any comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos as they go out. You can hit the notification bell so you definitely get notified for those. You can follow us on all of our social medias. They are at ParcFem_ on Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. You can also head over to our website. It's parcfem.co.uk. You get articles on a bunch of different racing series about a bunch of different things, so you can head over there and check that out. And with that all being said, ciao bella.
Ciao, Bella.
Bella.
Bella, ciao, ciao, ciao.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw!